I am human.
Fulton County Clerk of Court Ché Alexander says even though she's human, she strives for perfection.
And that's how the mishap happened.
The mishap was she inadvertently posted the indictment charge.
Welcome back. If you have been following what is going on, the day before Trump indictment or few hours to Trump indictment, everything leaked online. Now the lady is coming out to say it was a mistake. Instead of pressing the save button, she pressed send. That she is a human. She is adjusting, never to make such mistakes. I don't know who is buying these stories. If you have not seen the clip, I'm going to play it so you can see exactly what is happening here. If you have not subscribed to this channel, please endeavor to do that. And if possible, why not share this clip?
And Linda, Ché Alexander says she was under a lot of pressure to make sure this process went smoothly. There were no hiccups. She says in trying to be perfect, she made a mistake, and instead of hitting save, she hit send.
I am human.
Fulton County Clerk of Court Ché Alexander says even though she's human, she strives for perfection.
And that's how the mishap happened.
The mishap was she inadvertently posted the indictment charges against former President Donald Trump, even though the grand jury was still deliberating Monday. That set off a media firestorm and had Trump's attorneys saying prosecutors had no respect for the grand jury process. Alexander said this had nothing to do with the DA's office and there was nothing sinister about the mistake she made.
I have no dog in the fight.
She says in an effort to handle the indictment perfectly, she messed up.
I did a work sample in the system, and when I hit save, it went to the press queue.
Some news reporters saw it before it was deleted. Alexander says what they saw was unofficial.
It wasn't an official document. It wasn't official charges. It was the dry run. It was a work sample.
Even though it had a case number, Alexander says it didn't have a stamp and other markings that would have made it official. I asked her why did she release a statement calling the document fictitious.
That was the best word I could come up with. It was fictitious. It wasn't real. It didn't have a stamp on it.
Why didn't you just say it was an error?
She says fictitious was what her team came up with.
We've been getting some calls.
Her office has received calls and emails with threats. People saying, "I'm coming to get you." Those threats have been forwarded to the sheriff's office. Alexander says she was under a lot of pressure to get this right. Now she says she just wants to explain what happened and get back to work.
I tell my staff we just want to be transparent, right? And so I don't have anything to hide.
And Alexander says her mistake had no impact on the grand jury's decision. I asked her, how did she get her hands on those charges? She says she has access to that information as clerk of court. She says her office is taking those threats very seriously. We're live in downtown.
Yes, immediately this surfaced online. Vivek had this to say. Here we go again, another disastrous Trump indictment. It downright pathetic that Fulton County publicly posted the indictment on its website even before the grand jury had finished covering. Since the four persecutions against Trump are using novel and untested legal theories, it's fair game for him to do the same in defense immediately file a motion to dismiss for a constitutional due process violations for publicly issuing an indictment before the grand jury had actually signed one. He should make a strong argument on this ground and it will send a powerful message to the ever-expansive prosecutorial police state. As someone who is running for president against Trump, I will volunteer to write the amicus brief to the court myself. Prosecutors should not be deciding U.S. presidential election, and if they are so overzealous that they commit constitutional violation, then the case should be thrown out and they should be held accountable. Simple as that. Now we are getting these stories because they realize there is some heat coming into this. If you tell me that this was a mistake, how then did you know the content of what we saw at the final indictment? That is a question a lot of people are asking. It is actually insane to realize how these people try every day to manipulate the public.
exactly why I'm...
So let me ask you, when you talk about wanting to pardon Donald Trump for this, why? What would be good about that if you became president of the United States to pardon him?
I think the right answer for this country is to move forward, not to get into a weaponized tug of war between two political parties that then make a habit of using politicized police force against their political opponents. That is the stuff of banana republics. That is not what I want to see the United States of America devolve into. We should be able to disagree fiercely with one another, but still sort out those disagreements through our civic process, culminating at the ballot box. Well, every person's voice and vote counts equally. That is how we do things in the United States, not by eliminating our opponents using backdoor mechanisms. And so my chief reason for pardoning Donald Trump, at least of the federal offenses, which will be what's in my power, that includes the New York State offenses because they include the charge of an underlying federal offense as well. It will be to move this nation forward, because my motivation in being U.S. President, Neil, is that I don't want to lead us to a national divorce. We're skating on thin ice as a country right now. That is a fact. I want to lead us to a national revival that will take forward. That is also why I'm saying even now, when it would be in my self-interest as a candidate to see Donald Trump eliminated. By some counts, that would put me at #1 in the Republican primary polls. That is not how I want to see it done, which is why I've been so particular about being vocal on this, because I stand on the side of principle over partisan politics.
All right,
Yes, when you take a look at these questions, you realize it was actually a trap. Vivek, being so brilliant, he had to tackle the questions appropriately. Asking of this repeatedly about pardoning of Trump, he has also been on heat recently partaken to pardoning Hunter Biden, which is something I think we talked about yesterday. When you look at this question, I think I've seen this. Vivek took the stand, and that is very good. I will not see any person standing up to criticize what he said here. Though a lot of people are now coming to say, oh, Vivek is fond of this, doing this. I really don't have enough, to criticize Vivek. He is somebody that is outspoken that I've seen, and he is still energetic, to tackle a lot of things, though partaken to like running affairs like administrative duty. I don't really know much pertaining to that. He could spend some time again before actually taking up this position to be the president. With it, he will gain more experience, to stand up to do this.